Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Covers Face Off on the Scratch a Track podcast presented by the Dude and Grim Show. I am the Dude.
And I'm Grim. And today we are going to be discussing the Immigrant song by Led Zeppelin, obviously, and the version by Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, featuring Karen O from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs on vocals from the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo film score, original film score.
The American version, not the Swedish version.
Thank you for clarifying.
Of the movie. Yes.
And dude, here we are in the same studio.
Wow.
It's a rare treat,
Look at that.
you know?
Look at that with my dude glass.
Yeah.
For the dude. It's pretty great. It's a birthday present from this guy.
So,
well, we got to start in chronological order. But before we do that, we should probably have everyone
like, subscribe, and comment below.
And that would be, we would be much obliged there.
Yeah. For those of you on your phone, just turn it sideways and hit the thumbs up and hit the subscribe, and you know,
all these things help us along through the rest of our life.
And it's going to change your life too. I have no doubts about it. I mean, it's changing mine subscriber by subscriber.
So,
yeah. But yes, Immigrant song, Led Zeppelin, off their third album.
First single.
Led Zeppelin 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
First single. And dude, we've discussed this. Well, this album has its own Scratch a Track podcast, which is very early on before we started doing this whole video thing. So maybe our buddy Forrest can link that below. If not, you know, you can find it out there. It's the one that's got like a couple 100,000 views. So just sort by that.
Yeah. The largest number of views.
Mm-hmm. So we have discussed it a little bit, but this song off that album is pretty interesting because I think we both sort of agree that we love the song, but maybe for that album, it doesn't necessarily fit.
Not with the rest of the album,
yeah,
per se. But it's interesting because people talk about, you know, several bands being forerunners, if you will, to kind of like metal. And I feel like if you were going to rank anything from Led Zeppelin's catalog in that category, this would be my number one. I mean, I just remember hearing it and with just that drive-in F sharp.
Dude,
and
right in the beginning, man.
Yeah.
It really, it's interesting because it is very different than the rest of the album, but it hits so hard. And I know it was the first single off the album. And I think we talked about it, you know, months and months ago on the episode that, you know, that's the single that came out. And if you heard that song and then you get the album, you might feel a little different about it because it doesn't kind of go with the rest of it. The rest of the album, you know, you got some slow blues with Since I've Been Loving You, but then a lot of it's acoustic stuff. Bass.
Yeah.
So now, having said all that, it's a badass song. It's a great song.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of interesting, like the dichotomy of starting off the album punching so hard and then everything else just kind of slows down, with the exception maybe which I love the intro for Out on the Tiles. Now, I will say both of these two songs, they if you read about it, you'll hear mentions of this being on some other Zeppelin stuff. But my favorite use of both this song and Out on the Tiles, or at least part of Out on the Tiles in a live setting, is from Led Zeppelin BBC sessions, where they do the...
This too.
I think so.
Yeah.
Where they do Immigrant song live. And of course, the vocals are not quite what you would be used to hearing the studio version. But I mean, I don't know that they had the technology to do this big, huge, sweeping, reverberated, delayed, you know, when Plant's doing his kind of like, I'm not going to say primal scream, but you know what I mean? But I love how they do this song live because it's really raw, it's really heavy, and I think Page does a really sweet guitar solo in that version of it. And then for them to take that intro for Out on the Tiles and use that as an intro to Black Dog.
Right. That's right.
Damn, that's hot.
It is pretty sweet. Well, and I think too that this song has been a staple for them over the years. Well, not they've been playing a lot of shows lately, but when they were playing a lot of shows, they would open a lot of concerts with this song, which they do on the BBC Sessions disc 2, that whole live show. And that's cool because I believe that wasn't that also like the first time they played songs off of Led Zeppelin 4 one of the first times when they played Stairway.
Yeah, I think it was pretty early.
They do play Black Dog because the Tiles is the intro for that.
Yeah.
Going to California and everything. Anyways, they do an awesome job with it. I think it's one of the songs you would hear on classic rock radio pretty much every day, Other than that, then Ramble On into Live and Love and Made, but whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Or Heartbreaker.
Heartbreaker into Live and Love and Made. Yeah. But Ramble On would also be played.
It would.
But I guess thinking of the writing of this song, or at least I should say reading about it, it's not as if I were there and thinking back. But reading about it, apparently it was written when they were on a tour of Iceland, Bath, and Germany in the summer of 1970. So very early on for them, probably when they were working on Led Zeppelin 2, because I think they had a working title for the song before they actually had, before it was called the Immigrant Song. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if you're mistaken or not, because I didn't dig quite as deep. But I think their tour in Iceland, in Reykjavik, it kind of helped inspire writing this song.
Yeah.
And that's where even, we come from the land of the ice and snow. And the story kind of goes that when they went there to play this show, I guess in Reykjavik, they were supposed to go there and they were guests of the Icelandic government on a cultural mission.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Led Zeppelin. I don't know what kind of cultural mission they were on. I'm sure they had fun in their hotel, wherever they were. But basically it says like the civil servants who were involved in putting the show on or whatever went on strike and the gig was going to be canceled. And there's a university there and they have a concert hall and they kind of put it all together and they were able to play.
Students set them up.
Yeah.
Right?
And those was pretty badass. So this song kind of was influential in them writing the Immigrant Song. And I guess, I don't know what the title is because at that point they were immigrants.
Well, sure. But I guess as I'm reading it, they used to kind of open concerts in the early days. It specifically says between 70 and 72. And it was introduced as a short piece of music known as L.A. Drone.
That's right. Yeah. And I think I guess it's a while ago now, they came out with like How the West Was Won.
Yeah.
Their sort of live, not DVD, CD, I don't know, songs, concerts and everything. And LA Drone was on there. So, and I don't know I know I have that, but I don't know if their LA Drone there was actually Immigrant Song or if
something else.
They did.
Yeah.
But so anyways, I always thought it was interesting that, you have Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. I mean, people know Trent Reznor, from 9 Inch Nails and everything.
And I think Atticus Ross is now considered a permanent member, whereas before it was just Reznor, right, with touring musicians.
Yeah, and I forget what album it kind of was where Ross kind of transitioned over in, but they are basically like a working partnership now.
Yeah.
And they've developed a phenomenal relationship. Trent Reznor had always been very close to director David Fincher, who you might know from Seven and Fight Club, Benjamin Button. And he also hired him to do the Social Network soundtrack, the score for that, which him and Atticus Ross won an Academy Award, which is pretty cool. I mean, dude, when you think of, I'm sure if you told Trent Reznor when he was on tour doing like The Fragile and Downward Spiral and albums like that, hey, you're going to win an Academy Award one day doing one of David Fincher's movies. He probably would have been like, you're full of shit. I'm going to go hang out with Marilyn Manson, which a whole lot of people aren't doing that now. Sorry, Marilyn.
Yeah.
The past week or two haven't been too kind to you.
What happened?
Some things with a lady. We'll talk about that offline.
Bum deal. So, so their version of this song for the soundtrack or score, I guess I'd call it more of a soundtrack based on the fact that they kind of made like rock songs for it. But
well, I mean, with this, I mean, there's this song and then somebody else did a song too, but I mean, it's also a complete score.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Awesome, really dreary, desolate music, but he's really good at that too.
Yeah, well, sure. But I don't know. I mean, I think their version of the song is really interesting because it takes this song and puts it in the context of like kind of more industrial type music.
Absolutely.
And I think it works really well. I mean, based on the register that he would sing it in originally and the way that Plant sings it, to have Karen O sing it to me makes a lot of sense. She does have a powerful voice and she uses it really well in the song. And sometimes when you see something like this, your initial reaction is like, I don't know if I'm going to like that. But I really had no qualms with this at all upon listening to it. I thought it was really good. I like I said, I liked her delivery and I liked the way that they did it too. And I kind of like that little breakdown that they went into after they basically ended the last bit of lyrics. So now you better stop and rebuild all your ruins, for peace and trust can win the day despite of all your losing. When they go into that little breakdown there, I like the way they kind of did that as opposed to Led Zeppelin, where they just kind of hit on that nasty, dominant seventh chord.
Yeah, no, they definitely do some cool things to it. And I hadn't heard this version until I was actually like in the theater, in the theater watching the movie. And even when I was in there watching, I didn't know, like I knew Trent Reznor was involved in Atticus Ross. I shouldn't just say Trent Reznor. I knew that they were involved in the score for this movie, but I didn't know if they had anything to do with the production of that song. Because sometimes, people who are responsible for the music, the directors will put in a song or, or they may choose a song to put in the movie. But the opening credit sequence is really cool. It's its own sort of own little music video all in itself, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, so pardon me for that, but but upon watching the credit sequence, it really is. It's like some sort of a different version of like a T-1000, sort of morphing into all
liquid
these
metal.
It is liquid,
or it's like this. They're basically, for people who haven't seen it, check it out. I don't know if you can see the credit version online. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. But highly recommend the movie. But it is basically like almost like this liquid metal or oil that's going over sort of people and all this different imagery. But then there's some sort of like technology. You see like these like eye computer cables and things. And it's a really cool montage of different things. So it's a pretty cool sequence to start a movie, and definitely sets the tone for the rest of the movie. Which is
it sure does.
A very important part of the process. It's dark.
It's dark.
It's dark. The movie doesn't get a whole lot lighter either.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
So it critics did not review it as feel good movie of the year.
No, it's not a family film.
But
I mean, for some families, not for my family. Well, maybe. Anyways. So yeah, I mean, I like both. I mean, I love both versions. I love this song. For me, if I had to pick one, I would probably go with Zeppelin's version, just because it is so classic. And I think we were talking a little bit offline. It is pretty much of I mean, there are differences, but it's not like Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross and Karen O went and were like, hey, we're going to do an acoustic version of Immigrant song.
Country with accordions.
No, they did not go that route.
Zydeco,
so
I guess.
The main, soul of the song is still there.
Yeah,
wouldn't you say?
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And would you lean more towards, I guess, Led Zeppelin's version?
I have to. Yeah. And like I said, I wish for me, of course, Led Zeppelin's version, but man, I really, like I said, there are just some of the elements that I like so much of that BBC version. If they could have melded those, like had Plant's vocals with that like that expansive kind of explosive yell,
dude,
and but still get that. There's something about that guitar solo, and I get it. Like the guitar solo gets old as its own thing, no matter what band, but especially if in Led Zeppelin, it almost becomes kind of like a shtick.
Yeah,
but it's a fucking good shtick because Jimmy Page is an amazing guitarist.
He's not bad.
Plays it quite well.
He's not bad. He's pretty good. So. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that probably wraps up the Immigrant song on the Covers Face Off. We're going Zeppelin. Nothing against, No,
great cover. Honestly, great cover.
Yeah, definitely big Nine Inch Nails fan. And I got to admit, I don't know a whole lot about the Yeah Yeah Yeahs and Karen O, but I really like what she did on this song. I think she did a great homage to Robert Plant.
I do too. And if you start looking, she has done a lot of things aside from the Yeah. She does some vocals on the Flaming Lips Embryonic album,
Ooh.
which is interesting because when you read about it, she actually did the vocals over the phone as I read it, and Wayne Coyne like recorded it.
Damn.
And in the way it works in the song is really kind of cool.
That is pretty bad.
And that's the one that comes to mind, but I know there's some other stuff that I've read where she's on, and it's really good music from bands that I really like. So
wow, that's pretty tight, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have probably another exciting episode. I know we have another exciting episode coming out on Wednesday, and I'm pretty sure has to do with one of the bands or one of the members that we discussed in this episode. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Don't want to give too much away. But if you like the people who we discussed here today, then you're probably going to like that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Grim, I think it's time to go on the Dude and Grim Show.
Scratch Your Track is produced by the Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by Moore and the Tims. Copyright 2021, The Dude and Grim Show.